So for the last video, I showed you service endpoints, but now I'm going to talk about private endpoints. And the Azure Private Endpoint is a network interface that can be provisioned in your virtual network. It allows you to connect privately and securely to a service, and the service can be a storage account, Azure Cosmos DB, etc. And service endpoint was a connection via the Azure Backbone network. So we're going to have a virtual machine that's in a virtual network, and it wants to connect to a storage account over here, and you do so through a private endpoint. So I have a storage account in East US, and I also have a virtual machine that's East US. Anyway, so you go to networking, and similar to the service endpoints video, and we changed allow access for all networks to selected networks, but instead of adding a virtual network like we did in that one, we're just going to save. So now we shouldn't have any access to the storage account, and I'm going to prove it by doing the same thing that I did in another video, where we're going to go to the virtual machine that I have inside of it. I installed Azure Storage Explorer, and I'm going to add an account. I'm going to attach the storage account, so I'm putting the account key, then putting in the account name, and we're connecting to it. Okay, I'm going to refresh. Here it is. So it's not allowing us to access it, so that's how you know it's working. And I forgot to show the containers in the data. Okay, well, right now it's being weird. It's not letting me access it, but I have 2 files, so that's how you know we don't have access. So now let's actually get access to it by doing a private endpoint connection. Let's create a private endpoint. Let's put the region that our virtual machine's in, which is also East US. Give it a name. Private end resource. So what we want to allow access to, and we want the blob, because I have the data container and files in it, some blobs in it. And so we want to choose the virtual network that the VM's in, so it's this one, demo RG, and the subnet that it's in, so it's that one. And I'll leave the rest of the settings as they are, and I'll go next tags, next review and create, and I'm create, and I'll come back when it's ready. Okay, it's ready, so it creates its own resource, private endpoint, it assigns it a nick, but let's go to our storage account, and you can see in networking, private endpoint connections, it created one. And even if you still can't see that we don't have access to it from here, but if we remote our VM that we just allowed access to by creating that private endpoint, say refresh, we have access to it. But if you try to do file shares, it's not going to work because we don't have access to it. We only said that we wanted blob access. And just to double verify, I guess, yep, we could read files in it. So that's private endpoints.